My guest today is the Vice President of SCN Hospitality. She's here to talk about the effect of the shutdown of all the restaurants because of the coronavirus here in the Rochester area. Of course, the shutdown isn't only happening here, but we're a Rochester-based show, so we want to know what our community is going through. So please welcome my first guest in the brand new Rochester Podcast Network studio, Chelsea Felton. So Chelsea, how's it going?
I mean, it's going as good as it can be, I guess.
I see that everybody in the Rochester restaurant industry and beyond, of course, because this is not only affecting Rochester, has been super busy. So I appreciate you taking half hour or so to have a conversation with me and the listeners and viewers of the show.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
I took some family time today, you were saying before we started, to make sure that everything's square at home.
Yeah, I have two kids home, 7 and 8. So not only am I closing down 3 restaurants, I have to homeschool my 2 kids. And, you know, they're confused. They don't understand what's going on. They want to know why they can't go play down the street. So that's a whole other side of what's happening in people's house.
I mean, everybody's kind of stressed out at the very least. I mean, that's kind of an understatement, but I can't imagine being in the restaurant industry, being a mom, and dealing with all this all at the same time. On the perfect day, running 3 restaurants and being a mom has to be incredibly hard.
It does. I mean, there's definitely a home life, restaurant life balance. The position I'm in, I'm very lucky that I'm able to be home at night and on weekends and not have to be there necessarily when the restaurant is open. But I've, definitely gone through that in my life. But at this point in my life, I'm able to be home at night, especially my husband travels.
So those 3 restaurants, if I get them right, Branca, Revelry, and Bitter Honey, correct?
Yes, it's Branca Midtown, the Revelry, and Bitter Honey. Mm-hmm.
And that's all under your company, SCN Hospitality.
Absolutely, yes. The owner, Josh Miles, also operates the food and beverage program of the Strath Island Hotel. So he is also in charge of Hattie's and Char's Steak and Lounge.
If you're from out of town, all of the 5 that we just listed are very, very popular restaurants in Rochester. So let's just get right to it. I mean, when you heard that you have absolutely no choice but to close down at 8:00 on the 16th of March, I think it was, what was the conversation with yourself in your head and with your colleagues?
So actually, Josh and I decided the evening prior that we were going to close down even before the ban date. The health of our employees, the well-being of our customers and the community, it's our number one, it was our number one concern. So even prior to the mandate, we decided to close down completely.
Now, what percentage of restaurants in Rochester would you say were prepared to shut down for, say, 8 weeks, 3 months, 6 months? I mean, in the restaurant business, is this completely crippling to a lot of places in Rochester? Would you have to shut down even for a week?
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret. Restaurants have paper thin margins. I can't speak for everyone in Rochester, but there's definitely not 3 months of emergency reserves. Especially February, March, we definitely had the holidays, then you have your ups and downs after that. So, and especially since we operate 3 restaurants, we definitely don't have emergency reserves for a situation like this. So it took a lot of thought and agonizing over whether we should close down, because we knew that if we did, there would be absolutely no revenue. But again, the health and the well-being of our staff was our number one concern.
Now, would it be the same answer if I asked you the question of whether or not, like, why did you choose to close down completely instead of go the route of doing takeout and local pickup and stuff like that? Did you close down all of your restaurants that you're involved with 100%?
We did. So Branca Midtown, yesterday we had 3 hours where we just did takeout to the tenants in the building, and we only had 2 people on site. And we had no contact pickup. But, Adam Bello, the county exec, said it today in its press conference: do your part and stay home. And to us, even doing takeout, that's not staying home. I mean, this is a severe, severe issue. And the only way it is going to end is if we get rid of, contact. And that's even with, delivery or takeout. I mean, we can be as, we can take very good care in doing, takeout, but there's still contamination. It's in the air. And we wanted to eliminate that completely. And to be quite honest, I didn't want to go in there. If there's any chance that it's living on the surface or whatever, I don't want to be there.
So do you think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, so, if we didn't want to be there, we don't want to have to make our staff go there.
Okay. Well, I actually had a lot of questions about what you think people should do if they're going to go to a place that does takeout or pickup. How should they kind of take their own precautions when going? Say they, for some reason, decide not to cook at home one night and they want to support their local restaurants, like one half of social media is saying, right?
Yeah,
support
absolutely.
local, keep these restaurants alive. What should people do or look for or avoid if they decide to go to a restaurant that offers takeout?
Sure. So as I mentioned, we did it at Branca Midtown for just a short period of time, 3 hours yesterday. So we did no contact pickup. So they had to call in the orders. We had 4 or 5 items available. Did everything over the phone. Credit card payment over the phone. And we're in the building, we're in Tower 280. So we sanitized all the items when it went out. If they bought a bottle of wine, I wiped it down with a bleach wipe. And then we walked it to the security desk and left it at the security desk. So we had no interaction with any customers. And as I mentioned, it was actually just myself and the chef there yesterday.
Now you work, you were involved with I would say fancier restaurants, not too fancy to where you can't go. I don't want to like advertise for you or go against your brand, but you work at nice restaurants or with nice restaurants. Do you think that when this all blows over, are you going to change anything with how you clean things or how you're hygienic with food or anything like that? Or are you proud of what you do already? You know what I mean? Has this opened your eyes to anything else?
Absolutely. I mean, now I'm just kind of crazy. Before, I can say that I was definitely proud of our hygiene practices and food safety practices prior to this. Actually, in one of the health department classes, they mentioned that Branca Midtown had the cleanest kitchen in Rochester. So I will just mention that.
Congratulations. That's great.
But, prior to this even becoming an issue, a bigger issue, COVID-19, like 4 weeks ago, I just had this feeling because my brother lives in LA and they're way ahead of us, what was coming down the pipeline. So I sent bleach wipes to every restaurant before they're, now we can't even get them. 2 weeks prior, we had a COVID-19 meeting and about half of the management staff laughed at me. They thought it was like a joke that we were sitting there and reviewing our hygiene practices, our interaction with our guests, the way that we're handling food. We eliminated garnishes for drinks. We eliminated straws. We eliminated serving bread. So we kind of went through all of our practices of where we touched, just basically cut off touching things, that unnecessary things. So I am very proud. When we do open back up, we'll go to extreme measures. And I think everyone will. One thing that's scary, let's say that we do open back up in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. How many people are going to go out? People are going to be terrified. 35% of our business is revenue from events. No one's going to be booking events. No one.
now say you were brought in, and I don't know if you have any experience with this, but to consult for, let's say, bars and pubs instead of nice restaurants like you do. What would be the strategy for these owners of maybe say one bar on Monroe Ave or maybe two bars on East Ave or whatever? What would be the strategy when we bounce back to get everybody to come back in and to gain the trust of the public and stuff like that? Well, I don't want to put you on the spot, but what would you think would how should they communicate that that it's safe to come back out to eat? Or what's your plan? What's your strategy? And hopefully in a couple weeks or whatever, to invite the public back into the restaurants.
I mean, we just have to, I don't know, a lot of bleach, I guess.
Yeah.
And we just have to, break everything that we're used to. When you come into a restaurant, we have so many regulars and guests that have been with us, with this company for 6 years. So, out of habit, we hug them, we kiss them, we shake their hands, we chug out of the same bottle, we cheers. And I think we all just have to make some sacrifices and really, reteach ourselves and how to act now, post COVID-19.
Right. Do you think that what was I gonna? Do you think that some places will be hiring their own delivery drivers to get food out to people, or will they rely on the Grubhubs and the Uber Eats and stuff like that?
I mean, Grubhub and Uber Eats are the fastest way. I started the process of that when this all started to go down. And then we just talked about doing it ourselves. So, I mean, probably most people are going to move to delivering themselves unless they reduce their fees. It's like a 30-70% breakdown. So you're not even making your margins if you go through them. When I was speaking with Grubhub, they were talking about eliminating the fees, which I hope that they went through with those during this time. But I'm pretty confident that if restaurants have the capability and the staff that they'll move to delivery on their own.
What do you think about some restaurants like selling their inventory, like pounds of chicken or cuts of steaks or stuff like I saw like Jimmy Z's out in Brockport. He had extra mac salad, so he was giving away toilet paper and mac salad, whatever he had. Do you think?
Yeah, 100%. First of all, I mean, each restaurant, the amount of inventory that you sit on, it's not doing us any good. It's not doing us any good sitting there for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. It makes us no money. So, everybody is in emergency mode and we're just selling everything off. We're definitely not making the margins that we would, but number one, we're trying to survive. And number two, we're trying to help people. At all of the restaurants, all of our 3 restaurants, we give away food to staff. We have perishable food and we have food that we can save and freeze, but everything that we weren't able to freeze, we gave it away. Yesterday, the chef purchased corned beef for family meal because he thought, a week ago that we would be able to enjoy family meal. So he came in yesterday and he cooked it, had it in separate takeout containers, and then we scheduled our employees to come one by one to pick it up. And then when they came in, we allowed them to go in the cooler and get carrots, chicken, house-made ricotta, toilet paper, bleach, whatever they wanted. Josh Miles, the owner, basically said, give away what we have. I want to help our employees.
Well, that's very noble of him, especially he might need some of this stuff, God forbid, in a month or two from now if this thing keeps going. Who should customers or potential customers trust to make the call that it's okay to go back into these restaurants in the Rochester area? I mean, stuff spreads through social media. It's okay, it's not okay, fake news, real news. I mean, what's the call we're waiting for to when we can go back out?
I don't know. I mean, the spread needs to stop. And, as I mentioned before, I don't think it's going to stop with these Band-Aids of saying, okay, you can still do takeout, you can still do delivery, you can still be in a room with 10 people. It's still spreading. So until that's completely over with, we're not even ever thinking to reopen until that's done. But I mean, it's going to come from some sort of government official to say. And then, when we left on the last day yesterday, we took everything off of our tables. We put everything away, all the liquor bottles, everything, with the hope that when we do open, the place is going to be completely sprayed down and professionally cleaned.
So what are you and your family doing to pass the, what is it called? The quarantine time?
The
Are you on?
quarantine?
Yeah.
Well, my husband works from home when he's not traveling. So he's been on conference calls probably from 8 in the morning. I actually stole his computer right now until
Oh, man.
9 at night trying to keep his job. And then myself, I've been, helping out our employees. Everybody's applying for unemployment. We laid off about 130 of our family members, of our employees. So, assisting them with that, going through our bills to see what we could ask for deferments, basically just understanding our cash position and seeing what we can do to help our employees to keep their health insurance going. So I've been really busy with that. And then, as I mentioned before, I guess I'm a homeschool teacher. So that's my hardest part of the day.
Well, it's one thing you could be, very good at is teaching percentages. Okay, 15% of this is
Right.
what, stuff like that.
Yeah.
From being in the restaurant business. So
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned the unemployment thing. Do you have the bullet points of that, the top 3 things that servers and bartenders and restaurant workers need to know if people haven't sat down and dug through the details? I mean, I know that you're not, before this at least, you're not an expert on the unemployment law, but maybe now that you spent the last 72 hours, if not more, digging into it, you can help some people who don't even know that they can get benefits.
Sure. So if you were laid off, you can apply for unemployment. You can go to the New York State Gov website under unemployment. However, it has been crashing for the last 2 days. They don't have enough workers to process this. And then one thing to know is you can apply for it based on the letter of your last name. So there's certain days, I think A through whatever was a couple days ago. And then Thursday and Friday is left for anyone who didn't do it. You're not going to get full pay of what you typically do. It's a percentage of it. And I believe, obviously, you need your social security number, and then you also need your last 4 pay stubs. So if you don't have that information, contact your manager or your payroll company so they can get that for you.
Now, I don't know if you'll comment on this, and you can literally say no comment, but it's no secret that some bartenders and servers don't claim every single dollar that they put into their pocket at work. Now, this is kind of biting them in the butt at this point because the unemployment is based on what their pay stub says. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but that's the industry. In our restaurants, they actually have to claim pretty close to what they make. So thankfully, we've always used that practice. But I mean, I used to be a bartender in college. We for sure didn't claim that out. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely not even going to be close to what they are typically make. And people live paycheck to paycheck, and they're afraid. They're calling me like, is it going to reopen? What do you think? How am I going to pay my rent? So now I'm, dealing with all these people that I've worked with for so long and cared for. They always call me the mother, and trying to walk them through that, that it's going to be okay, that I'm here to help, that we'll do what we can. So right now, Josh, and my goal is to float, the business as long as possible and provide the benefits that we do, such as health insurance, as long as we can for these people.
Chelsea, anything else you want to add for, again, servers, bartenders, restaurant workers, or customers who are iffy about going out and ordering takeout from restaurants at this current point in time?
Just make sure, listen, businesses are trying to survive. They have to do what they can. So there's, I'm not commenting anything. It's, my sister and brother-in-law are small business owner as well. They got to do what they got to do to pay the bills. And until restaurant and hospitality industry gets some sort of stimulus package or get some sort of assistance, they're not going to close down. Until it's mandated, no takeout, no delivery, they're not going to close down because they want to pay their bills. They want to survive. So if you are going to support the restaurants that are still remain open, which I say 100% do, just make sure that they, call ahead and ask them their practices. How many people do they have working there? Will I have to see you? Pay over credit card. But, one thing that we remember, we're all friends in Rochester. Rochester's a small community. Don't go in and high five someone. Don't go in and hug someone. Like, it's not a joke. This is serious. And, showing how we're a couple weeks behind New York City or a month behind Los Angeles. As I mentioned before, my brother's in Los Angeles. It is a complete shutdown. People are not leaving their house for 2 weeks. They can't get Amazon deliveries. Like, that's where we're heading. So we need to get above the curve, and we need to just say, like, that's it. Like, quarantine yourself. Take time, read, work out, cook, all the things that restaurant employees have missed over the years. We've never been, we can't go to holidays. We can't have family dinners. We're always working. So take this time now that we've always wanted to just be in your house if you can.
Yeah, control what you can control, right? It's funny you mentioned Los Angeles. I have a flight booked to Los Angeles for April 2nd, and obviously it's not happening. But
I have a flight booked to Grand Cayman for the 26th for my 40th birthday, and obviously that's not happening.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, man. I hope you'll be able to reschedule and take it at least. You will maybe not be there for your birthday, but same thing. I was going for my birthday on the 7th to Los Angeles. And it's funny. I even said, I'm like, even if I want to be brave, this is a couple weeks ago, even if I want to be brave and go, there's not going to be anything to do because you can't go to sports.
No.
You can't go to comedy shows. I'm not going to go to the Walk to Hollywood sign every day. That's kind of,
yeah. I'm telling you, he said it's ghost town. People aren't leaving their house. So it's not even, and I have a few friends there that are actually trying to get home, and they just don't even know how to get home. Or if they take a flight, do they have to quarantine themselves when they arrive to Rochester? So definitely a struggle.
It's brutal. But I do want to end on this. I know some restaurants are offering the option to buy gift cards still, so they could, people can collect money and pay bills, and then you can enjoy their food later. Is Branca, Revelry, Bitter Honey, Hattie's, and Char offering gift cards at this time? And if so, where can we get them?
Absolutely. So all of our websites have online gift cards. It is an amazing, amazing way to support these restaurants. I cannot encourage you enough. Gift cards, like, absolutely, that goes directly into our bank account, and then it's able to assist us with, our bills and what we need to do while we're shut down. So 100% support your local restaurants, small businesses, buy gift cards. And then, as I mentioned before, when we open up, we'll have a big party. We had a few, we had a few of our regular customers yesterday. I mean, I can't thank them enough, but they went to come in to buy a bottle of wine, and they said, put $500 on my card.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys have been with me for 3 years. You've been serving me. You're my friends. Here's what I can do. So, yeah, if you could do it, do it. Because, we don't want, as much as we say that we're going to open up, not every restaurant and bar is going to make it through this. So.
Well, Chelsea, I can't thank you enough for your time. I know that it's insanely hard to get a person in the restaurant industry right now and get their attention for a half an hour, and you gave that to me and my viewers and listeners, so I really appreciate it. Can't wait to check out. I've been to all these restaurants already, but I can't wait to come to your post-coronavirus party at all 3 to 5 locations. Thank you so much.
It's gonna be a rager. You're welcome. Thank you, Chris.
All right, we got to do the Corona bump, and no high fives. There we go. All right, Chelsea, thank you so much.
Have a good day.
You too. That's Chelsea Felton. Thank you again to her. And thanks to Drew Nye, the owner or part owner, I'm not sure, of Rome there on Park Ave. And, of course, the Blossom Road Pub on Winton. He's the one that made the connection for Chelsea and I. And thank you. Thank you so much. We got a new studio here. We have a new studio. And I wanted to show everybody, but nobody's really going to care right now because we're all dealing with coronavirus. So I know that I had to reschedule the grand opening too, where you guys were going to be able to come check out the studio. That's going to happen. It's only going to be cooler and have cooler things on the walls and more furniture and a better setup and stuff like that. So thank you for your patience and appreciate your support. Wash your hands, use your sanitizer, And yeah, stay healthy. And make sure you do the Corona bump. No high fives out there. Thanks for watching and listening to the Chris Konya Show. We'll see you next week.
It's been too long since I spoke clear and strong. Just something about this concrete gets me down.